Now the corpses are decayed, not into dust, but have become one with the fertile and well-watered soil of the valleys. The open sun illuminates the forests, and it pries into those dark places where moss softens the tread of men and beasts. Even the skeletons, one supposes, have become soil, although no doubt a polished white fragment is occasionally washed from the hills, the bone glowing spectral and jewel-like in a setting of thick foliage. Villages are rebuilt, rice paddies are tended. If ghosts walk that wet land, and ghosts always have, perhaps we who did so much killing there are still remembered. The living try to forget. We came in landing craft and airplanes and helicopters, and we breathed the hot screams of war. We left as if blown by a cold exhalation, a sigh, a murmur from the congregated dead. You ask which war? It makes no difference. They are all the same. Only the terrain differs. Every few years there is an improvement in weapons. There is never an improvement in illusions. When I received the phone call from Bjorn North, I was amazed to find I still had illusions. North lived in a small town in the Strait of Juan de Fuca in Washington State. He fished some of the time, drank most of the time, and when the fishing was bad, he ran drugs in a small way. I called the Blackbird, he said. Blackbird is coming. I want you both here. The Blackbird is insane, I said. He isn't just Asiatic the way we may be. The bird is genuinely insane. There is a reason for the Blackbird's insanity, and we both knew it. This is more than a reunion, I said on the phone. What do you want? I have to make a judgment call, North said, and only you and Blackbird will understand it. North's voice cracked, whispered, lingered over syllables like a man hesitating as he fumbled in a foreign language. I could imagine him hunched inside a phone booth overlooking a harbor where clusters of masts stood shrouded in evening fog. It is a dark, wet land in which we live. North was as tall as I am, but without the balding head and hook nose. His long legs would swell the seam of his pants and at the shanks. His narrow chest would seem dubbed under the body of a wrestler, and above it would ride his equally narrow and Scandinavian face, like a new moon with whitish blonde hair. Are you drinking? When he was drinking, he had a bad habit of laughing, a white face turning red, a mouth grotesque. Obscenity often amused him. Not enough, he said. If you mean, am I sober, the answer is that I'm afraid to get drunk. The phone connection carried an echo, one muddled and faint. Stay sober. Stay dry for 2 days. It will take me that long to get there, I paused. North was not fundamentally a liar, although there had probably been such a thing as a completely truthful sailor. What are you afraid of? I asked. His voice was guarded whisper like the man dredging a secret from a deep well. I'm afraid there is no safe place to die. War is normal. If it were not, we would stop having so many of them. One problem with war is that the men who fight are generally voiceless. Even if they find their voices, no one listens. No one can afford to listen. When the war is over, the men who survive put on civilian clothes and disappear into the crowd. Occasionally one of them camps alongside a freeway with a rifle, or he tosses his girlfriend from a 7-story window, or he bunkers up and dies in a firefight with the police. Newspapers report the event. People shake their heads and say, my, and good God. They are surprised, but the real surprise is not that a few do, but that thousands do not. A war produces corpses, but it does not bury them. At least it does not bury them deep. I suspected that North's corpses were coming back to greet him, for we all have a string of spirits trailing at our back. They are like the anchoring tail of an enormous kite. If you handle them with respect, they only whisper a little bit sometimes, and the trail behind you is faded and vague. Handle them wrong, as North perhaps was finding out, and the spirits turn from the mist to the dark smoke of napalm. Are you dying? I had asked him. Not right away, North said. At least if I can help it. I will not help you kill yourself. I'm no longer attuned to it, even if I help a friend. He was shocked, not because of what he had heard, but because I had spotted a weakness he had tried to conceal. I want to live, he said. If I need killing, I'll ask the Blackbird. It was then that I discovered I still had illusions. A friend was in need. Maybe it was possible to help. Sit tight, I told him. 48 hours.